In this example, we have a system of two masses and two springs that you should see here. We are looking for the equation of motion of mass m1 and mass m2. The first step in this sort of exercise is to create the free body diagram of every mass in the system. In this free body diagram, we have all forces that are being applied to each mass, which in this case will come from the springs and from the external force applied to mass m2. Before you go ahead and draw the forces, we can specify the displacement of masses m1 and m2. Because the force is pulling mass m2 to the right, we can assume that a mass m2 and mass m1 will both also move to the right. And you can call the displacement of mass m2 x2 and the displacement of mass m1 x1. We now need a convention for the sign of forces applied to these masses. Because everything is going to accelerate to the right, it would be intuitive to assume that all forces applied to the right are positive. This is a convention, and we could specify that forces pointing to the left are negative, but as long as we're consistent with a convention that we choose, the formulation should work. Now let's look at the forces that are being applied to each mass. Let's start with mass m1. Mass m1 is connected to mass m2. If mass m2 moves to the right, it will pull on mass m1, and will then apply a force that points to the right. If mass m1 moves to the right, then the spring that is connected between mass m1 and a fixed reference will slow down, will pull at mass m1 back. So we now have a force in the opposite direction due to spring K1. Spring K1 has a stiffness K of K1, so the force that it exerts on the mass is the stiffness times the displacement of that spring, which in this case corresponds to x1. So we can write that this force is K1 x1. On the other side of mass m1, we have another spring. So if mass m1 moves, it will stretch the spring on one end, and as mass m1 moves, it will also move the other end of the spring. The relative compression of that spring, or the relative displacement, is the motion of mass m2 minus the motion of mass m1. So we can now write that this force on this side is K2 times x2 minus x1. Why x2 minus x1 and not x1 minus x2? Well, if you think about it, both masses are moving to the right. And because m2 is connected to m1 through an elastic element, x2 will be likely greater than x1. So we can say that x2 at some instant in time will be greater than x1. So if you now do x2 minus x1, the result of this calculation is a positive scalar. The magnitude of the force here is then positive, which means that the direction of this arrow is correct. If you had x1 minus x2, this would result in a negative number, and a negative magnitude doesn't exist. We'll then have to flip the arrow that we draw there. Those are the forces acting on m1. For m2, if you look back at the diagram, we have an input force F of t that is applied here. And on the other side, well, these two are connected, so the force that acts on this side of m1 is, of course, the same as the one that applies on the left side of m2. It has an opposite direction, but the magnitude is the same. So the force pointing in this direction here, acting on m2, has a magnitude of K2 x2 minus x1, which again is the same force that is being applied there. Now that I have the free body diagram for both masses, we can go ahead and start writing the equation of motion for mass m1 and m2. Let's start with mass m1. We know that the sum of all forces acting on mass m1 results in an acceleration of mass m1. So m1 times the acceleration of mass m1 as a function of the displacement, that is the second derivative of x1. So m1 x1 double dot. The double dot, the second derivative of the displacement x. The sum of all forces here would be simply these two forces. So we have following our convention, K2 is positive, K1 x1 here is negative. So we have K2 x2 minus x1 minus K1 x1 equals to mass times acceleration, m1 x1 double dot. We can now do the sum of forces for mass m2. The sum of forces is what creates the acceleration of mass m2. So m2 times its acceleration, second derivative of displacement x2 double dot. Sum of forces, we simply have f of t minus k2 x2 minus x1, and this equates to m2 x2 double dot. Those are the basic equations. Now we can put them in a more friendly form. We can move everything to this side and have m1 x1 double dot. K1 x1 is negative, moves to the right, becomes positive, K1 x1. K2 times x2 is positive, becomes negative. K2 times x1 is negative here, becomes positive on the other side. K2 x1 minus K2 x2. And now this equates to 0. So our final equation is m1 x1 double dot plus, factoring out x1, K1 plus K2 minus K2 x2 equals to 0. And for mass m2, there isn't much to do here, but we could move this part of the equation to the right side. We end up with m2 x2 double dot plus K2 x2 minus x1 equals to f of t. And we can leave f of t on this side of the equation to highlight that that's the external input to the system. And this is the final equation for mass m2.